This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so now the problem, next problem what we have, we need to understand the networking. Okay, so let's understand this simple way. Okay, all of you are able to see my screen, right? Hello.
Yes, Rajat.
Yes,
Okay, so now guys, what is the problem? What is the problem? Next problem. Okay, think simple. There is a Mumbai region or Ohio or Virginia or whatever it is. I don't care right now, but the regions are there. You know what? How many accounts we have in this region? How many accounts? Anyone have guesses? How many users are using the accounts? Anyone have guesses?
and 10 million.
Which one?
Lakhs maybe.
10 million.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I don't know. Okay, so I don't know how many accounts we have, but more than millions accounts. More than millions account in each region. So every million people, I mean, million accounts means let's say at least 5 million VMs will be created. So this is I'm creating just for visualization. Look at the problem here. Tell me what is the problem here? Everyone is creating their VMs on AWS one region which is called Mumbai for time being. So what is the problem here? What is the problem here?
Traffic.
Not traffic, something else. Major problem.
Isolation.
More?
Disaster recovery problem. I think that will
Nope,
be
nope,
solved
nope.
by availability.
One of the
So
major problem.
I, I can I can fix network problems.
Ah, see the problem here is. Tell me one thing. Very thing simple. You must be working for some organization for sure. So think simple. Okay, there is one IT park. Okay, there is one IT park, and in that park we have hundreds of companies, and each company you have hundreds of employees, and each employee there is one laptop. Do you think you can reach out to from your laptop from your organization number one to organization number two of the some other employee? Can you ping their machine? Same IT park. Can you do that?
So
Why we are not allowing to do that? Security region, correct now? Each organization should have their own IP range. They can talk to each other internally. Employees can talk to each other internally, but from outside, it should not be accessible because of security region and many other regions which we have. So that's problem behind AWS also. Are you understanding this problem or not? Hello?
Yes.
I'll put it in a more simpler way. You are right now staying in your apartment, your flat, and you have a neighborhood also. Would you like them to access your laptop? Of course not. So what we do, we create a small network. Okay, we create small network. Each home it created one network with the help of router, the one which you're using. So each offices also they create a network, small network. Okay, why? Because of so many other reasons. Security is one of the reason, and IP address availability, and many other reasons which we have. Are you understanding that? What is the problem?
Yes.
So AWS, how they will solve it? Because there is one data center, one data center, one region, millions of account, millions of EC2 instance. How would they protect one of their asset to another asset, and one account to another account, one organization to another account, another organization? How would they do that? So guys, that's where that they introduced one concept called this is availability zone. Okay, this is availability zone. This is AJ1 and this is AJ2. Okay, So this is AJ1 and this is AJ2. This is AJ2. And they have come up with the concept of virtual network. So they say, hey, listen, do one thing. Let's create one network here, one network here, and network here. Virtual network. What is the use of virtual network? So these VMs we can create in the virtual network, and that will be not accessible outside of the network. I repeat, the VMs you can create in one of the network, and that VM will not be accessible directly through the private IP address from outside of the network. Are you understanding or not, guys? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
got it actually.
Yeah. So now this is called network. In your home also there is a network. In your office also there is a network. Like that in cloud also, if you want to share the resources with the millions of people, you have to create a network. But we call it here, we call it a VPC. In full form of VPC is virtual private connect. In Azure they call it network. That's easier actually. But in AWS it's a unique name actually all the time. So VPC. So you create a VPC, then you will have to create multiple small network. It's not a small network, we call it subnet. Okay, so subnet. This is a subnet. This is a subnet. What is a subnet? Subnet is like a small network, you can say, but it's not small network. But here you can control the routes. So one network is there, we call it a VPC, then we have a subnet. So this is the, you can call it public subnet, and this is called private subnet. What is a public subnet, private subnet? So public subnet will have internet means access to the internet, whole world. No internet in the private subnet. For example, public subnet, when you have internet, you run web layer. No internet, you want to run app layer or DB layer. So database, do you want them to access? No. Web server, you want to access? Yes. How do we see in the diagram? Look at this here. So this is the one VPC. Now I'm creating VPC. Most of the time, what we do, we divide into the three network. Okay. And here there's a multiple EC2 instance. This is the EC2 instance. This is the EC2 instance 1. Let me change the color. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here also web app server, and this is the database server, multiple instance. So this is the web layer, this is the app layer, and this is the database layer. Now where is the internet needed? This is outside of the people want to access this load balancer somewhere here. I'll show you load balancer. So load balancer should access to this one. So internet access you need in this subnet, but here you don't need internet. Here you don't need internet, and because it's the same network, this can talk to this. Here also you need a load balancer. Here also you need a load balancer. Are you understanding that at high level?
Yes.
So here this is what we need. So you need a VPC, you need a subnet, then you need a route table, then you need NAT gateway. Okay, you need all this stuff. Many other stuff. If you need a VPN, you can get a VPN also. Okay, so many things are there here in the networking. So now you'll say, Rajesh, okay, I'm not able to understand network concept like a route table, NAT gateway, VPN, subnet. So let me remind you guys, we are learning the AWS, and using AWS, you can do literally anything. Okay, so if you are not a networking expert, no problem. Okay, no problem. But need to know fundamental of it. Like what is the route table, what is a NAT, what is a VPN, what is a subnet, what is a network, all this thing. So fundamental of it. And with that, slowly if you practice it, you'll get used to it. Okay, by the way, this is a one-time activity, so don't need to focus too much actually. But let's say if you are in an automation project, so then you need to know each and everything. What is a VPC? Means here I am not VPC in terms of AWS. Fundamental, you have to be strong. Okay, so this is something which we have to understand. So now let me use one of the image, AWS VPC complete. Some image I need so I can explain you all this component. I think this will be better. This will be no. I'll use some little complicated one, and this is a better. Yeah, look at this image, official image, and I'm going to snip it actually for explanations. So you have to design this. Okay. So now how to create EC2 instance? This one, all of you are okay. Correct now? Now, if you look at this here, this is the end user of your application. Let's say you are accessing the flipkart.com. So the traffic is coming through the internet gateway. Okay. So VPC will have an internet gateway. Internet gateway. Internet. Now you will ask, what is internet gateway? Simple. Using this, internet is coming. Simple. Internet means the whole world is able to connect to your machine using the internet gateway. Now here, from here, the internet gateway traffic coming to the router. Then you may ask some of you, what is router? Router is nothing but a rules actually, saying that, hey, whenever the traffic is coming from outside, it should go to here or it should go to here. Are you understanding, all of you? Hello?
Yes.
So router will tell, okay, go to this public network. See, private network, no, public network. See here. Why public network? Because just now I explained, right? Public network, you have a web server, right? Apache, front end. So here, this is the, you see that public subnet. This is a public subnet. And this is the private subnet. So here you created a private subnet. This is the two subnet I created. You can create a multiple subnet. I'm not complicating too much. Okay. So, but you can create, practice first, learn the technology, then you can design your own system. So this is a public subnet, this is a private subnet. This public subnet, if you look at this, you have an internet. Then you'll ask, Rajesh, how come you got an internet on the VMs of the public subnet? So internet is given by NAT gateway. See here, NAT gateway you don't have in the private subnet. Do you? No. So who's giving the internet to the NAT gateway? Sorry, public subnet. That means EC2 instance of the public subnet. Who's giving? So here, this internet you are getting from the NAT gateway. So NAT gateway, what exactly they are doing? They are giving internet to, sorry, my bad. There's one mistake I did. NAT gateway giving internet to private subnet. Okay, bad. So now you'll say, Rajesh, why is that? So NAT gateway is also instance actually. Okay, so NAT gateway, I'll put it in this way. Understand this. So you are hitting to the internet gateway. Internet gateway sending, doing the routing of your traffic. Routing to your traffic. There should be load balancer in this image. There is no load balancer. So I'll talk about that one later. From this, you got in the network in the public subnet. Now, public subnet, you have an internet. You see that internet gateway attached to the public subnet. So because of that internet gateway, you have a public subnet. So you have internet because of this. Now, because of this internet gateway is not attached to the private subnet, there is no internet. Then you'll say, Rajesh, how can I get the internet here also? But it should not be accessible from outside. How can we get it? So we buy this internet from the one of the machine from the private subnet. So this is giving the NAT gateway is giving the internet to the private subnet. Okay, this is the gateway. NAT gateway giving internet to private subnet EC2 instance. Okay, so each component you have it. Now here you have EC2. Now you'll say, Rajesh, what is the NAT instance? This you just ignore it. NAT instance you don't need to know. Okay, because NAT instance and NAT gateway both are doing the same work, but this is managed by us. NAT gateway managed by AWS. Forget about it. Then here you have private subnet, and private subnet you have running that some private machines. I mean EC2 instance and then database and all stuff like that. If you look at this here, security groups which you have discussed, network level security groups, the one which I discussed is applied to this private subnet, and one security group applied for the public subnet. Okay. Now you may have other components also, and but this is a whole things together is coming one VPC. So are you understanding, all of you, with this diagram?
So this security group would be at subnet level,
Yes.
or it's not different. It's the same as something we configured some time back for machine itself.
Same. The security group is the same, which is for the network. Okay. You can create a subnet level security group. You can create for the this what you say VPC level also. It's the same network, one security group, one network, 10 security group. You can create as many security group and different protocol. See, ultimately what happened, this security group, the one which you are creating here, you apply to EC2 instance. Okay. EC2 instance. So whichever you apply, let's say here, if you look at this security group, I apply to EC2 instance. So the machine, this security group belong to the public subnet. Let's say some security group applied to the private subnet machines, it will become a part of the private subnet. You can use same security group for the public and private. That's possible, but not good practice. You are opening, you see, here you are opening 80 port, here you are opening nothing, right?
Yes.
So like that. So now you'll say, I know that some of you must be thinking getting lost in this concept of an internet gateway, routing table, NAT gateway, NAT instance, VPC, subnet, and then domain services I had to discuss actually. So these are the, don't need to get scared, because these are the fundamental concept of networking. When you set up a networking for your organization, I'm not talking about the AWS, I'm talking about your organization, then you will have to set up this one in a physical way. But because we are using AWS, all this thing can be set up in a virtual way. Okay, virtual way.
One more question from the diagram. So the instance is behind the NAT gateway. Is it how it works? The NAT instance.
No. Let me tell you here. I'll explain you a little bit in detail. I don't want it to complicate though, but you are asking, so I'm just answering. See here. If you see that internet gateway is traveling that through the here, that means internet is available in this machine also, and any other machines also will be creating in the public subnet. Okay, so this VPC divide into subnet 1, subnet 2, and here you are running some instance, here you are running some instance. Remember, the public subnet is a terminology which used for awareness, our preference. Subnet is subnet for the networking. Any subnet which you attach to the internet gateway is become a public subnet. That means anyone can access it. Any subnet which is not attached to the internet gateway, that's become a private subnet automatically, because no internet. So far so clear, right?
Yes.
And that is something we define in the security group, whether or not it will be available to public. No?
No. I repeat, the moment you attach internet gateway to the any subnet, that will become a
How
public
do we
subnet.
attach a subnet then?
Attach
Which
means the process.
component we are configured?
That's how to do that. I'll show you that. Don't worry about it. Okay. Understand that. The moment you attach the internet gateway to the any subnet, that will become a public subnet. Why? Because there you get the internet. All the machines of that subnet will get the internet. That is clear, right? All of you?
Yes.
Now next thing is private subnet. This is the machine. This you need also internet. Then you say, Rajesh, why do you need the internet? Database is running. Database need to access from this machine to this machine. Why do you need access in the internet? See, database also required a patching, right? OS patching, application patching, runtime patching, right? So you need an internet to be there. Sometime you need an internet, sometime you do manually. So the question is, how do you get an internet? See here, database you don't want to attach to the internet gateway. Why? Because people can access, hacker can access this. So you don't want to do that. Then you will say, how can I give the internet to the public's private subnet? How can I get internet to private subnet? So remember that this guy, you have internet. Don't you have internet here? Correct?
Yes.
So what I will do, I'm taking a manual way first. So this, I'll create one instance. Please hear me out clearly. I'll create one instance. And this instance, I will route it to this place. That means this subnet will get the internet from this machine. This machine, it's possible. How to do that? Forget about it. But you know, guys, this machine, what we call it? We call it NAT. A machine, repeat, I'm telling you, a machine which is giving the internet, the machine means the VM, which is giving internet to the other subnet, private subnet, that machine, typically we call it NAT. Are you comfortable so far?
Yes.
Now the question is coming. See here, this is a NAT instance. That means this machine is managed by you. This is designed for giving internet to the private subnet. Then you will say, Rajesh, okay, I understood this NAT concept, NAT instance, which is giving the internet to the private subnet. That's okay. And remember that to give the internet to the private subnet, this machine, this NAT instance has to be there in the public subnet, because then only they get the internet. Then you will say, Rajesh, what is the NAT gateway? So understand that this instance, which you set it up manually, you have a manual work, lots of manual work. Manual work means you have to see that how much traffic you are getting, CPU, RAM, maintenance, this, that, and all. So what you decided, let me not create this one manually. Let it managed by AWS. So AWS offer the same services of NAT instance, but the name of this service is called NAT Gateway. NAT Gateway is managed services of AWS. That means if you want the internet in the private subnet machines, you use the NAT Gateway, which is the managed service of AWS. But if you say, I want to manage it, so create an instance and configure it accordingly. So now you understand what is the instance and gateway, all of you? All of you?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
So guys, don't get lost in the networking, because I feel some of you might not be comfortable with the networking. In fact, when I started AWS 10, 12 years before, at that time also I was not knowing the networking. So I used to get lost. But what has happened over the period of time when I started designing the system, then started, okay, this is called networking, this is called subnet, this is called internet gateway. This is something not AWS you are learning. I repeat, not AWS. This is the fundamental of networking. Internet gateway, you have a fundamental network, routing table, NAT gateway, VPN, all these things are fundamental of networking actually, which we are practicing on the AWS in easy way. That's all. So slowly you'll get to know, not to worry about it. So now coming back to the main question, where do I create VPC, subnet, internet gateway, routing table, NAT gateway, VPN, and so many things. And for that, we have dedicated service on AWS, and that we call it category is networking and content delivery. And inside that, so many networking related services you have: API gateway, mesh, cloud map, front. If you want to create a CDN, then CloudFront you can use it. Direct connect, dedicated bandwidth. So many things you are. If you're a networking architecture, then you love all these services, because if you do manually, a hell lot of time it will take. But in AWS, it's a matter of few clicks. VPC. This is the point which I'm targeting. So now see here, guys. Look at this. You want to create VPC here, you want to create subnet here, you want to create route table here, you want to create an internet gateway here, you want to create an egress only internet gateway here, you want to buy elastic IP address here, you want to develop endpoints here, in NAT gateway you want to do it here, you want to match two network. two VPC. Two VPC means organization 1, organization 2. There's a two VPC, two network. You want to merge it? You have to, so not merge it. You have to connect it. Peering connection. You can here do that. ACLs, here you have security groups which you know. Some of the firewall related to the DNS firewall, domain name services firewall, not OS, not network. DNS firewall here. Some more additional firewalls you have. VPN related, multiple kind of VPN related things we have here. Cloud WAN we have here. So a complete solution for the networking you can find it here. Right now we are not bothering about it. So how many VPCs you have? See, this is my bad habit. I create it and I forget to delete it. This is you should not do that, but okay. So this I was not needed, but it's okay. So now guys, I have a two VPC here. Then you know what? This VPC, the one which you see default, every region, when you log in the fresh account, every region, this default VPC will be there. Yes, every region. Let's say if you don't have it, then if you, let's say you, I mean, you'll have it for sure. But many people, what they do, you know, they delete the VPC default one. Okay, so then you can create it. How to create it? There's some interface which is there. It should be there, which should create the default VPC. So there should be some interface here. Usually we don't delete it, but many people are special. They play with a default VPC. Not from here, at least not from here. Just like I forgot the UI part. So default VPC, AWS create default VPC. So this is the URL. So you should go to create. So this is the URL. You should not delete the default VPC. It's a free. Okay. So you go to the VPC. In your navigation pane, choose your VPC, action, create default VPC. It was there actually, but I didn't find out. So you go to the VPC, in action, do you have a default VPC? Okay, I got it. So see, my default VPC is already there. That's the reason this option is not activated, which I did not write it. Did you see that? Here, follow my cursor.
Yes.
All of you? Hello, I'm audible, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now the question is, how do we create it? So guys, there is a two ways to create it. Let's say if you're a networking guy, networking expert, then you can create a VPC, you can create a subnet, you can do the routing table one by one. For example, just for idea, I'm not doing it right now, but just for idea. VPC, I'm creating Raju, and CIDR, you set it up, and all these tenants you define and create a VPC. CIDR has to be set it up. So what is the CIDR? Let me copy from some of my blogs. CIDR means networking range for okay. So I'm selecting this VPC, which is CIDR. Okay. So selected this and VPC created. You will read all this other stuff also. I copied, pasted this. Created. So VPC created. Now you want to create a subnet. So here, create a subnet. Name of the VPC which you are creating for Raju, and set a subnet range. The subnet range, I'll put it up for the subnet one. This one. Okay. And availability zone. This is your select A. And public here and create subnet. Like that, you create subnet, then you do the route table. That means if the first you create internet gateway. So here it's a chargeable, okay? So internet gateway chargeable. You can create internet gateway. So like let's say this is the internet gateway. After that, you'll say routing. So from where to where? So internet gateway, you'll say on VPC, let's say Raju. You select that and create a route table. And here you will say subnet associations. So all these things you can do manually also. All these things. So create a VPC, create a subnet, create an internet gateway, create a route table. Then after that, create a NAT gateway attached to the subnet, attached to the subnet. Yes. So all these things you can do manually. So here you have some steps which you can try. But are we going to do manually for time being till you get started? No. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the widget. So go to the dashboard. Okay. And here you have a widget, create a VPC. So this widget you are going to use it. So create a VPC, and here they have given you solution. Look at this, it's beautifully designed actually. Manually also you can do that, but you want the VPC only or VPC and more? I want more. What is the name of the project? What is the CIDR? All these things they are setting up. And here, how many availability zone you want? 2, 3, and all these things. How many public subnet? 2. How many private subnet? 2. And you see the diagram. You see that here, right side? All of you? Hello? Guys, there's some audio. There's some
Yeah, there's some disturbance.
Yeah. Just mute, unmute only those people who are not talking. Okay. So see, this is the VPC name. How many subnets you have? 4. 2 for South A, 1 A, 2 for South B. If you look at it correctly, this is a public. This is a public here. This is a private. This is a good design actually. They are recommending you. Okay. So how do you understand a little bit here? Look at this. How many route tables they're creating? So here they're creating 3 route tables, 1 for public, 2 for private. And if you see, follow this arrow, public route table is coming from the internet, network connection, which is public gateway. IGW means they are creating one internet gateway. And here, if you see, this is managed by VPCE. That means some endpoint and stuff like that. So a nice image actually, you can customize this one, and it's a nice editor they have got it. And then finally, if you're happy with this design, then go ahead and create at the bottom, create VPC. See here, actually if you create manually, these are the things you have to do. Read this: creating a VPC, enable DNS host name, enable DNS resolution, verifying the VPC creation, after that S3 endpoint, creating a subnet 1, 2, 3, 4, creating a internet gateway, attaching this one to this, creating a route table, create a route, then associating route table to some VPC subnet, then this, and then this. So this all work has been done in order to create a VPC. This all design you did within the widget. So now I have a 3 VPC. See here, I created 4 in fact. Subnets, route table, and stuff like that. So first you create through the widget, okay? Understand that, and after that, what you do if you want to become an expert in it, understand the fundamental of networking, and after that you come and see that all the setups. For example, just now I created this one, I guess, correct? Okay, so see that here how it's been configured manually. So CID range, flow log, stack, same goes with the subnets. Open up the subnet, look at the route table which get associated with ACLs, CID reservation. Look at the route table, study that how it's been written route tables here. See that routes is been written here like this. So create through the widget and then learn from that. And then once you are comfortable with it, if you're preparing for certifications and all, then do it manually. Once, at least once. So now what to do? Guys, I have created a network, everything created. How to use that? Now come back to the EC2 instance, because ultimately you do what? Ultimately, you created what? You created a network for what? You created a network for running EC2 instance. That's all. That is protected from the any other VPC. So let's go and create a EC2 instance. And look at my screen here carefully now. Again, I'm creating EC2 instance, but you have to look at it very carefully. Launch instance. I'll select 1E1, select the CPU, and here now you understand this. So now you understand the network, which ones to select, default or Raju or project VPC or project this one. Which subnet you want to create this machine? Here you select. Do you want to assign IP address, public IP address? Do you want to give the host name and blah blah blah? You want to placement group and all this stuff is additional stuff. So these are all networking settings. Do you understand that now, all of you?
Yes.
So this is the guys networking things which you have. So what you should do, cancel, go to the VPC, and I should delete that because I have a memory issues. I forget. So I'll go here, delete. And yes, I want to delete. Default you should not delete, okay? Because you'll not be able to create any instance in that. And this one also I'll delete. Only the one thing which is chargeable, which is internet gateway. And sorry, internet gateway and then NAT gateway, because they are managed services. And rest of the thing is free. So when you delete the VPC,
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry, I have a question. What about if I decide not to even create my own PVC and I just want to be running my VMs using the default PVC?
nothing will happen. I mean, you have still have the network, same components you have for the default. Why default is being created? Because they don't want you to get lost in the concept of networking. Immediately you go to the AWS, create a VMs. So they created one network for you by default to protect your information, protect your servers from the other servers. Got it?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, got it.
So, but what happens? You want to launch the enterprise application, and for that you want to design your own network, own subnet, your own security, everything you want to design it. So for that you have to customize that other VPCs. Okay, so I'm just checking that NAT gateway is there or not. So yeah. So yeah, good to go ahead. Okay, so I cleaned up while talking also. So this good. So guys, this is the VPC things. So now next thing, whatever the services I'm going to talk about is these are the things. So let me get started with it. So first thing, let's go to the home page. Okay, home page. So these are my cost forecasting and all. And here I click, and here storage is done. One services for networking is done. Computing is done, which is here. Now database. So if you look at this database, guys, what is the difference between database which is offered by AWS and the database which you create in EC2 instance? Let me tell you here, when you go and create a EC2 instance, you only pay for the EC2 instance to AWS. So after that, what you do? You install you buy the database server like Oracle and all stuff like that, or MS SQL or MySQL or whatever it is, and then you install it manually. You manage it manually. So here, if you have a database administrator team, then I think it's easy to do that, managing your own database server. Okay, so AWS only responsible for the compute, and your team will be responsible for database management, servers and all. But what about if you don't want to do outsource this work and all? That means you don't have a team to manage your database server. So what you do? You use the platform as a service. This is the one. So in that case, what will happen? AWS will manage the infrastructure also, like a compute and storage. On top of it, they will manage the runtime also. So they will give you the database created, and you can use that database and get started. So here you can create a DynamoDB. Here you can see RDS. All this RDS supported. Some other database is also supported. Elasticsearch is here somewhere. Where is that? Elasticsearch. No, that's Elastic Cache. Elasticsearch should be, I think, in the different category. We call it Elastic. Yes, Elastic Service. We call it Open Search. Okay, Open Search. So it is not here. So it should be in the different category. Then. Open Search. Here it is. In some category, I think it's there. Yeah. So let's go for the database right now. So these are the things. Primarily, we work with RDS like MS SQL, MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, and stuff like that. So what to do? Nothing. You'll have to create your own database, just like a widget you'll follow, and then they will give you IP address of database name, username, password, and port number, and you can use it. So here you see that you can create a database instance. You want to create a cluster of instance, that is also possible. You want to take a backup snapshot and all, you can do that. If you want to host the database instance in the reserve instance, little costlier, little less costly, you can do that. And some security groups, subnet networking concepts which we discussed earlier. So let's create an instance. I have no instance right now. What to do? Create a database. Okay. Now this database I'm creating. We want to create a standard create or easy create. Easy create means it's like a fast forward, but I don't want to do that. I want to go to the standard create. Which RDS you want to select? These are the RDS: Amazon, Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, and SQL. Okay. Here these are the MySQL compatible edition. You want to go for the Postgres SQL compatible edition? You click here. Okay. So I'll just go for, let's say, MariaDB. It's a SQL one. Okay. And then you want to create for the production or dev and test and free tier. Free tier, remember that here. So I'll go for the dev and test. And these are the settings actually. What is the database instance name? What will be the username of the database? What is the password for it? Auto generate password. Okay. And what will be the CPU and RAM for database server? So here you can pay for whatever you want. These are the different classes: standard classes, memory optimized classes, brushable classes. And you see that here, these are the CPU and RAM. You can select that. How much storage, what storage you want to use for the database server, you can go for it. How much storage you want, you can select this. You want to auto scale, you want to have some minimum threshold, maximum storage threshold and all. Means how much it should grow maximum. Okay, so you want to create for the standby, or you want to recommend it, you want to create for the production users or something, multi-agent deployment. How do you connect to IP address or dual stack mode? Which VPC? I have right now only one VPC, which is default. I deleted all. Which subnet group? I have a default subnet group. Do you want to access public or private? Means public means on the internet or not internet. Okay. So if you make a public, you'll get a DNS. What is the security group? You can select the security group, VPC security group. I created multiple, any one of these, you can select this. Availability zone preference, you want to create in A, B, C, what? And authentications, we want password or IAM authentications, of course, password. And ultimately, you get the cost of it. So this much will cost you. Let's say if you go for whatever the configuration you opted for it, you will get for this one. And after that, create a database. End of this operation, they'll give you database name, password, IP address, DNS name, and you can connect with any application. Are you understanding, all of you? Hello?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So it's like a managed service. You don't have to struggle for, okay, let me go create a VPC, create a EC2 instance, then create a VPC, secure VPC, follow all this practice, that practice, and install the license, install the engine, Oracle, configure this, heap size, all these things, blah, 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 nothing you have to do. Just go and create a database and use it. Rest of the things, they'll take care of it. Okay. So it's like this. So this is the RDS, one of the services in the database. Now, I would like to talk about some of the services on can you see this one? What is this called? Can you tell me? Guys, what is this called? All of you? Can you read it for me?
Developer tools.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Guys, so I'm because everyone, no one is asking question actually. So keep asking questions and all. So developer tools, click on it. Now, guys, this is a little important for all of you. Okay. So how many of you want to practice the DevOps using the AWS? Can you just name it in the chat window? I mean, say yes or no in the chat window. Let me tell you here, practicing the DevOps using general tool, which I am offering this session. But how many of you wants to do the DevOps using only AWS? Yeah, so many people are there. So if you want to practice the DevOps, then guys, focus on this one. Okay, focus on this one. Let's start with it. So first thing, IDE. What is IDE means? All of you? Anyone? IDE means?
Integrated development environment.
So example of IDE means one example you give it to me.
Visual Studio.
Visual
Studio Code.
Yeah, correct, yeah. So guys, do you want IDE on cloud? Got it? Cloud9. See, a cloud IDE for writing and running and debugging a code, like Eclipse, like a functionality you want at the cloud. Use this one. After that, what you want? After that, you want to commit the code, correct now? So what you are using in the general? Git, right? GitHub and stuff like that, correct now? All of you? Hello?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. So guys, just be with me because I feel I'm talking to the computer. So yeah, please tell me.
Okay, this your and what they call it, this notepad, the notes that you normally write, they are very valuable for us. I don't know how can we get it, because there at times when you watch the what they call it, the video back as a replay, you want them to access to this also.
Which one? These notes?
Yes.
No, I'll make it available. I'll share the end of the session. No, I'll share
Okay.
at the end of. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So recordings and notes will be shared. Yeah. So let's stick to the discussion right now. The same topic. Okay. So you want IDE, then Cloud9. Then you want to store after writing the code. You want to store it. Then you will store it in the GitHub, which I'll teach you. But here, what we call it? Code commit. After that, storing the code, you want to build it using Maven, correct now? So what is that? Code build. Okay, before that I forgot one, that you have to scan it, that code, analyze the code also, quality of the code. So which one I have to do? So do you have code start somewhere? Here it is. And after that, code build. So do you want to store the package? After the build, you have a package, right? So you want to do that. So packaging, you want to store it here, code artifact. After that, you want to do the CI/CD using Jenkins, right? Which I'll teach you Jenkins in the upcoming session. But here you can call it pipeline. Where is it? Here it is. Pipeline. So Cloud9 Cloud Shell for working on the console. I mean, it's a command line utility for the AWS. Okay. Artifact where you can store the code, build, code commit, deploy. Deploy means Ansible. So before code pipeline, you want to deploy that to the different machines. So code deploy, Ansible, something like that. Pipeline like a Jenkins, code star means SonarQube, maybe you can correlate. Okay, X-ray also you can use for the SonarQube. This is for multiple things together. Okay, and this is for some even I have not used X-ray. So if you want to do the DevOps, all these things you can use it. From ID to GitHub to Maven to SonarQube and Maven, SonarQube, Artifactory, Ansible, Jenkins. Everything you have a services on AWS. So guys, are you understanding this or not?
Yes, it's understood.
Yes, thank you.
So now let's say you want to go GitHub, which you know that, but I'll go to the code commit just for the giving you idea a little bit. So where is the code commit? It's here. Okay, so I have I think few repositories there. Just forget about it. See, this is the code commit. This is the code artifacts. This is a build. This is a deployment. This is the pipeline and some settings. Other services you have in the under the developer tools. It's not integrated here because of CI/CD. So I'll create one more repository here. This is some repository, some demo. This is like a GitHub. Okay, you created like a GitHub, right? This name and create it. Now this repository, the one which you have, you can clone it using SSH and HTTPS and do the commit. Git session is pending, so that's the reason some of you, if you don't know the Git and GitHub, no need to worry about it. You'll get to know. This code commit is equal to GitHub. Here it is. So this is a GitHub. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you here, the DevOps which you are practicing is through the different tools. But if you really want to implement the DevOps at AWS using the AWS services, this is the place where you can go, come and practice. Okay, so this is stuff. Now I want to show you some more functionality. So which are the functionality? So guys, let me tell you, do you want to have SMTP server? Tell me, what is SMTP server? This is also dev tool, but not DevOpsSchool. Dev tool.
Okay, my understanding is like a mail server. We use it for mail in the Windows development.
Yeah, SMTP server means
simple mail transfer protocol.
Yeah, but what exactly it's doing actually?
It's for managing mail.
Sending an email. Okay. See, all of you are getting an email like Gmail email, Outlook email, Office email. You know, all these things sent by SMTP server only. Every email is sent by SMTP server. No matter whether you are using a mail in your office or Gmail or any public emails, they all are sent through SMTP server. Using this, you can send thousands and thousands of email and get it done. Okay, so every tools when you configure it, one section of will be SMTP setup. That means if that tool you want them to send an email, then they have to use the SMTP server for sending an email. Got it, all of you? Okay, now let me ask you guys. All of you must be using, how to tell you? Of course, okay, I'm going to name out this time. So let's say Saurav. Saurav, tell me, which is the social app you are using, social applications? Or maybe Srikant Reddy?
FB, WhatsApp,
WhatsApp you are using, right? Or maybe Facebook, LinkedIn,
yeah,
Twitter, right? Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So have you seen that the pop-up which is coming, pop-up?
Means a notifications.
Yeah, notification. You answer my question. So guys, do you want to enable a notification on your app, your application? I'm saying, see, developer is doing all this stuff. So do you want to enable that functionality? Notification server you need for that. Okay. So notification server you need for that. Okay, that's the one thing. Notification server. After that, I'll tell you one more problem, and that is kind of, see, I'm giving you scenario. You have to tell me solution for it. Okay, I'll not tell you the solution directly. So this is the application web server, okay, and this is the application server, and this is the database server. So from web server, it sends the traffic to the application server to database server. Suddenly, what happens? The setup what you have, it can only cover that 100 requests per second. That means this server is capable. But suddenly, you know what happened? Black Friday sales or big $1 billion sales. You know all these sales happen. And what happens? Amazon.com, instead of 100 people, you got 1 lakh people suddenly. What will happen? See, this server is capable to process only 100 requests. Now suddenly you get, let's say, 1,000 requests, which is 10x of the existing infrastructure. So what you will do? What you will do? That's the auto scaling group. Wonderful. Auto scaling. But I don't want to do auto scaling. What I'll do?
Create few more instances and use load balancer.
I don't want to do that. That's called auto scaling. No, auto scaling will create more resources. That's all, through the automated way. I'll teach you auto scaling a little bit later. Okay. So basically, what you'll do, the server should not crash. So for that, what you'll do, you'll send all the requests to the queue manager. Have you heard about this queue manager? Are you understanding? Queue manager?
Yeah.
So they will send all the requests to the queue manager, and application will slowly take all the requests and process it and do the things. So at least the system will not be will not crash in a simple way. Got it? All the requests you got it, and processing slowly, and system will not crash. So what I need actually as a dev guy, I need a queue manager, queue server. Correct now? And you know, I don't want to set up a SMTP server. I don't want to set up a notification server. I don't want to set up a queue server also. I don't want to do that. So I'm saying, hey, AWS, can you give me these services? Because I want to focus on the coding. I don't want to manage all these services. So then AWS says, yes, I can give it to you, but you have to pay for a little bit of amount. So I said, I'm okay. Then AWS said, okay, no problem. You come to SMTP server. So I will call it the service SES. Here it is. Amazon email SES. This is the SES server. Okay. So all these SES servers you have here. That means here you can create a SMTP server. Let me show you the SMTP server detail. These all are my the account which I'm showing you. I'm using for my production also, by the way. Okay. So where's the SES server? Can you locate this SES server? Here it is. Okay, so I'm sending an email. I'm using the DevOpsSchool actually. So how many emails I sent today? 35 emails. Sorry, I'm not sending it. System is sending an email. Got it, guys? All of you? All of you? Hello, I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to use it, now the question you, how can I set up? So basically multiple steps are there. So you have to do this. You have to verify your domain. You have to verify your email address, and then you will get enable this. Some of the options here automatically will come, and then finally you will get this one. Okay. So I'm not showing you that one because you will see that in the LMS. Those videos will be there. Detailed one, around 20 hours of videos on AWS itself. 20. So you can check this one. So this is the SES. Remember this service. If you want to send an email, SES. How to configure it? You will practice it. Now notification server I want as a dev tool. So what is that? For that you have SNS. SNS, notification servers. This is the notification servers. Okay, SNS. Here you can create a SNS subscription and all. SMS also you can send, email also you can send. Many functionality you have in SNS. Here, let's say you want to have a queue server without setting up the server. SQS we call it. SQS. Here this is the SQS. I'm not created the queue, and this is the one. So these are the dev tool, programmers tool, programmer services. You can use it also. This is the DevOps tool, which I already talked about it, and this is the stuff. Now next thing is, I want to talk about two more services, and this will be followed by demo also. Auto scaling group, and one more thing which I am going to load balancer. Load balancer. So first thing, let me show you auto scaling group. What is the auto scaling group? So here, just what I said, same scenario. The traffic is coming earlier, that the infrastructure which I set it up for the 100, but suddenly that 1 lakh, no, let's put it up like this. Infrastructure which I set it up for 1,000 people, and suddenly 1 lakh people has come the traffic. So second way, what you should do, this is the machine, 1 machine and 2 machine and 3 machines are there. You should duplicate by 2 and it become a 6 machine, or let's say 60 machine. How can you make it? So the moment you have a more machines to handle, so all traffic, 10x traffic can be easily entertained. Don't you think so? Don't you think so? All of you? Hello? Now, suddenly what happened? 1,000 to 1 lakh, and after the big billion sales, it become 100 people. So why should I pay for this many machines? Automatically, you should delete also. So this is something, this functionality you want, this is called auto scaling. This can be up, this can be down. Auto scaling up, auto scaling down. That means add a few servers, remove few servers from your load. Are you understanding?
Yes, I have one question here.
Yes.
About the queue server.
Yeah.
So this gets picked up serially? Is it how the requests are handled from the queue servers?
Okay, so what will happen? The coding part I'm telling you. So the moment you go and create a SQS server, they'll give you one endpoint. Endpoint means, let's say simple, I'll use a simple keyword. Server IP address and password. Okay, simple. I'm just putting in a simple way. What you will do in the code, you will say request is coming, incoming, and send to SQS endpoint. That's all. So in the code, you have to write this endpoint. This is a web server code. Okay, so you have to send all the code to this. Now in the app server, what you say? From where to take the request, not from the web. Take it from SQS point. This is called sending that all the request and receiving all the request. So in the code, this thing. So AWS will give you the only endpoint. You have to, how to use it in the code, you have to write those stuff. Theoretically, did you understand this?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I was talking about the auto scaling group. So how to do that up and down? I think you have a self-service. So for that, you have to go to the EC2 only. Look at my screen. Go to the EC2 instance here. Where is that? See, auto scaling. Launch configuration means this is the launch configuration. So right now I don't have launch configuration. Launch configuration means the machine which you are creating for that configuration. This is called launch configuration. So create a launch configurations. This is Raju, I'm just AMI, which one you want. So some AMIs I'm using holiday landmark, and here type of the instance, like a 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM, or whatever it is. Choose this, and when you up, it will be done. Whether it will spot and all, not required, profiling not required, enabling monitoring not required, all these things. Root storage, how many you want, let's say 8 GB storage or whatever it is, and then security groups and name of the security groups and which port you want to open. So this use is a one-time activity. Okay, this is one-time activity. Demo, where's my key? Demo March, no, demo July. Okay, I'll use demo July here, and then create a, this is the auto scaling group for the EC2 instance. Now the question you have to set, see what to up. I set it up in a launch configuration, but the next question is when to add it. That you have to add in here. That's called auto scaling group. So I'm creating one auto scaling group. Name of this group is anything. Okay, and here you will select the launch configuration. I created launch configuration, but it's not available. Okay, switch to here. Sorry, my bad. Here, Raju, launch configuration, and next. Now here you'll select the VPC subnets. Next. Now, do you want load balancer? I don't want to talk about load balancer, so no load balancer. Next topic is a load balancer. Now here you say the things. When to what is the desired capacity? Start with 1. What is the minimum capacity? What is the maximum capacity? 10. 10 instance. Start with 1, minimum 1, maximum 10. And this is the rule. This is the policy when it should up. So here right now none. Here you have to enable. And here you see, if the CPU load of my server, that average CPU load of my all 3 server. That means earlier, what was that? Earlier we had 3 machines. So let's say if average CPU load is, let's say, more than 50%, then add 1 more. Or let's say 70%, add 2 more, like that. So here you are adding those configurations, and here you are saying average CPU utilization on network or network in and network out or something like that, more than 70%, then enable this particular, this rule. Keep adding it up to that. Okay, this is the maximum range, this is the minimum range. And then protection, if you want to enable, next. And if you want to notify someone through email notifications, you can do that. Right now, skip. And this is the created auto scaling group, and done. So at least one will be created from this. Okay, and now depends on the load, it will go to 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 5, 10, up to the 10, and stuff like that. So you see that here one will be created, here anything. See here. Okay, this anything is creating, and what is the desire? You see that all this desired capacity, minimum capacity, all these things you can read it. Okay, so this is the way you can create auto scaling group. Are you comfortable with it? At least high level, each and every field you have to read it and get a things. I'm not reading each and every field, else it will become a very long topic. Are you understanding, all of you? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, now next scenario. Next scenario, I'll delete this, guys, because I'll tell you one of the mistake which I did around 7-8 years before. 7-8 years before, what I did, I created an auto scaling group, launch configuration auto scaling group. But what I used to do, every time I used to go launch instance here, and I used to delete this machine. Which machine? So 4, it should be having 5 by now. Let's wait for it. So it will take some time. Let me see that here. It's updating that. So let me add this. Desired minimum So everything there. It will take some time to get it updated. So it's still updating it. Just wait for it. So this will create one instance actually. Okay. So this will create one instance. So what I used to do, this is still updating. So desire is one. So what I used to do, I used to go and create this VM from here. Okay. So every time when I used to create this VM, and I'll think, okay, I used to terminate the VM, not create, sorry, my bad. So I used to terminate the VM. Then every time, next time if I come, let's say after 3 days or 4 days, then again, if I'll find it here. Again, I'll terminate, again, I'll find it. Then end of this 1 month, I realized that I'm terminating is assuming like I'm not paying for it. But actually what is happening after the termination, I'll just log out. And after that, I realize this auto scaling group is creating the moment I delete that, because your desire was 1 and stuff like that. Are you understanding or not? Automatically. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the mistake. You should not do that. If you have created ASDs at any cost, you should delete that. So now this is still getting updated because of the CloudWatch and all. So it will take some time, but you have to delete that. If you create this, you delete. I'm deleting after creating, and done. And launch configurations also I'll delete, and this one. So yeah. Now there's a second last topic which we have is load balancer. So guys, load balancer means what? See here. Here, how many machines you have? Look at this. This is the web server. This is the app server. This is the database server. How many machines you have? 1 machine, 2 machine, 3 machine, 4 machine, 5 machines. Here also data app, 1 machine, multiple machines you have. Here also you may have a multiple. So the end user which is coming from here, and then the confusion is where it should go to here or here or here or here. Understood that? So for that, what we are going to do, we are creating one load balancer outside, and here also one need a load balancer for here to here and here to here. That means this load balancer will get all the traffic, and this balancer will decide either it is either it should transfer here or here or here or here. Where exactly? Now this one internal load balancer will hit here, and this guy will decide where to here, and same continue. Did you understand that, all of you?
Yes.
So
Yes.
how do we create a load balancer? So guys, here we have a multiple kind of load balancer. Network load balancer we have, applications load balancer we have, hybrid load balancer. So many types of load balancers are there, and each load balancer you have a different algorithm also. Okay, so different kind of algorithm. So this, this concept and all you have to get updated actually. What is the load balancer, how it works, what are the algorithms we have, all these things. So primarily this is work with the TCP, and this is work with HTTP. This is work with all these things. So you can update yourself all this stuff, but right now when it comes for the AWS, it's flat. Come to the load balancer. Okay, and here I'm creating load balancer. Let me tell you, it's a paid services. Okay, so all the services except the networking is the paid services which we have in AWS, and then so far what I've covered. So create a load balancer. Here, if you go and create a load balancer, they'll say, hey, do you want application, or do you want network, or do you want gateway and all? So if you don't know, then if you read this image also and this text, you'll understand that at least high level, what is ALB, what is a network, and blah, blah, blah. So, and here there's a classic one which got outdated actually. So here, if you see the classic one, we're supporting HTTP and TCP and SSL, whereas the application load balancer only support HTTP, and network only support the TCP, UDP, and TLS. It's up to you which one you want to go for it. Now I'll just go for the classic one, which is little costlier, little less costlier. These are the one, but here you'll get all the load balancing options. So here create name Raju, and here load balancer IP address and instance IP address, KT port. Okay, next, and okay, this is you have to select. It's internal or external. You have to read it. I'm not doing internal, external only, of course. Which instance? So I have a 2 instance, right? And this is a security group. So default means all I have open in the security group, and index.html. These are the settings for the load balancer to check, health check. This is powered by CloudWatch. Which instance? So here I have a demo Linux, Windows, 2 machines. Only this machine is working right now with Apache. Some tagging, review, and create. Load balancer is created. Now this will load balance only 2 machines. Okay, remember that. Only 2 machines. So go to here and here. By the way, out of service. So it will take few minutes to get it in service and all this stuff. What is the load balancer IP address? It's a record. So this is my load balancer. That means anyone in the whole world which will hit to this, it will go to my Linux box 80 port. Did I set 80 port? Let me check. I forgot actually. So load balancer port is also 80. Instance port is also 80. So 80 port, and Windows also, Windows machine also, it will go to the 80 port. Okay, Windows machine, Windows 80 port, nothing is running. Linux 80 port, I'm running this one. What is it? See here. Are you able to see this? So this is the Linux machine in service. Windows out of service. So get a Linux machine IP address. AT port. I'm directly hitting the IP address. Okay. Now I'll hit this one. I'm not able to. This is there. So anyone can hit. See here. So anyone can hit here. It will redirect here and here or more machines actually. So this is load balancer section. It's a managed services, and this is how it works. So you can create network, you can create applications, and many more you can create. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yes. So the internal one will be what you were showing between database line.
Internal load balancers will be accessible only inside the VPC. That means this VPC or this VPC, like that. This is a public subnet, this is a private subnet.
And how does it decide which server to pick for any particular request? Let's say the first request comes.
That's algorithm default actually. So here, go to the load balancer, and this is the algorithm default. So they manage this algorithm managed by AWS. Now you can read their documentation about the algorithm. That's what I said. No, every algorithm works with some. Every load balancer works with some algorithm. So
and we cannot change it.
No, it's a managed service. No, you can check.
Okay.
You can modify whatever the options are available for this. So here security attributes. Basically, if you want really you want to influence it, so you should go and check this one. These are the attributes to the load balancer. So this is stuff. Okay. Okay, guys, don't forget to delete it, others will have to pay for it. So I'm just deleting it. Load balancer target groups done. I'm just checking it. See, this is having some problem. Okay, so this is the load balancer. So last topic, which we have a IAM, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but let me discuss something else. So guys, this section is important, most important. How do you design AWS? So first thing what you do, this is the end user, correct? All of you are seeing my screen, right?
Yes, Rajesh.
Yes, we can.
Please hear me out clearly and ask me a question if you have confusion. This guy will hit the www DevOpsSchool website domain. The question you should ask, hey AWS, give me how can I buy the domain? So for that, there's one service which is called Route 53. Here you can buy a domain, $15, $15 approx it will cost you one domain, Route 53. You can buy a domain from other places also like a Google or GoDaddy or whatever it is, but I'm not complicating too much of discussions. So you'll buy a domain here. Okay, please, it's very important discussion actually. So where to buy the domain? Register domain here. And here you can register a domain. Let's say, who wants to buy a domain? Anyone? Let's say, Uday, are you there in this call? Uday? Uday Tech. So this is the domain you want to buy. And .com you want to buy? Yes. This should be unique, okay? Check whether it's available or not. And here it's available. You can buy this domain. After the buying the domain, one work is done. So will you remember this, all of you? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, after that, what you'll do? So guys, here I have a few domain already. I will not complicate this discussion. Where is my domain, by the way? Hosted zone, where? Here it is. So I have this. It's not refreshing, huh? So I have a few domains already. See the DevOpsSchool. So I will decide, okay, then the moment someone hit the domain, then it should redirect to the load balancer. Now the question is how to create a load balancer. You know that, right? No?
Yes.
After that, what I will decide, I have to design a network, internal network. So we'll create one VPC. This is a VPC. Okay. And then inside that, I'll create one subnet. This is a public subnet. And this is the private subnet. Okay. Please, I'm not writing it. Please think about it. This is a public and this is a private. Okay. So in that case, I will add one EC2 instance. And here I will run up application, let's say Tomcat. Okay. And here I will have a database. This is one instance more database. I'm not using the managed database. I'm manually creating it just for the sake of discussion. So one EC2 instance. So now what I will do, I'll create a load balancer and I'll balance this particular EC2 instance. How to balance the EC2 instance? Just now I showed you. Correct now?
Yes.
Now what I will do, I'll create one more load balancer, internal one, and this I will balance this. So this configuration I'll do with this machine, and this will send the traffic to this one. So right now in my scenario, what we have, only one machine here and only one machine here. And here you have a one front-end load balancer. This is a back-end load balancer. I'm not complicating the microservices world. I'm just being simple at SQS. I mean, what is this? Service-oriented SOA concept. Are you understanding, right? All of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now what I will do? Think simple. What I will do, because I want to manage the load, so I want to write a auto scaling group. So you should, the moment the load is there, it should add more machines, which is similar to the one machine which I had earlier. So auto scaling group also added. Now what I will do, I want to have a security group, which is a network firewall for here and here. What I will say in this security group, only 80 ports should be allowed. Rest of the things should be blocked. And only from the load balancer, I repeat, traffic should be allowed only from the load balancer. Ingress, egress concept you have to set up. In this scaling group, scaling group means, sorry, not scaling group, security groups. Here you have to say, receive the traffic only from this subnet. not from outside, and send it to the only particular IP address layer. Maybe database is 3306 IP port number. That's all. So security group also you understand, right? All of you.
Yes.
After that, what you'll do? See here. Hitting to the traffic. I mean domain to the external load balancer, external load balancer to the public subnet to the load balancer again, and private subnet, and this whole communication is done. Now you'll think, Rajesh, I need more services. Like what? So you need a services like SQS, SNS for application running inside the EC2 instance. I'm saying inside a EC2 instance you are running application, right? For that mail server you need, so application can send an email. So for that you go for what is that? SMTP server, which is SES. You want notification server in a code, SNS. You want the queue server in the code, SQS. Kind of it. Then you tomorrow you'll realize I want to monitor this. Then CloudWatch is one services. CloudWatch, which will monitor this EC2, this, all this thing you'll monitor. So what I'm trying to tell you, this is how you architect your system and you design your system. And for each and everything, you have a services available on AWS. Are you understanding all of it?
Yes. How do we point the domain to our load balancer?
Simple. Go to the hosted domain, a record. This is the hosted domain. I'm showing you the production also. Go to this here, and you see the a record, and it is hitting to the load balancer. Simple. So now you will say, Rajesh, what I need to do? So you need to learn this DNS records also, because remember that. See, so far you are only knowing the part of the infrastructure, but when you come to the AWS, you need to know everything. Okay, so you need to know DNS record. Where is that? No, this is all record list. Just a second, hold on. So you need to know. This one is good. See here, so you need to understand what exactly all this thing. If you really manage the domain, you need to understand all this thing. So you know what I will suggest you? I'll give it to you. I'll make it to you, to all of you. And just a second, hold on. This suggestion I'll make it to you. See, domain, how much it will cost you? Let's say $12. I'm giving you the suggestion. Domain, how much it will cost you? $12. Load balancer, some depends on the traffic, okay? Some, let's say $4-5 or something. Depends on the traffic. This instance, how much it will cost you? $30-40 per month. $50. I'm not talking about the high end. 1 GB, 1 CPU, 1 GB. In fact, if you're a part of the trial period, you get a free of cost for 1 year. Do one thing. I'll give you one assignment. Okay, I'll send it to you all this thing. Do one thing. Do you know WordPress, all of you?
WordPress.
Yes, I know.
So this is the blog, it's running the WordPress. This one I'm using from last 15 years actually. So WordPress is a basically free software. Using that, you can write a blogs. What to do, start your blog. Let's say your name is Sunil, right? So Sunil. So write one domain. Let's say I'm just giving you an example. Sunil DevOps, something like that. I'm not suggesting you, but you are. Let's say your full name, Sunil Mishra.com. Buy those and host it at the EC2, and in the EC2 install WordPress. And here, what you do, WordPress, you write anything, whatever you are learning in the DevOps, anything you are learning in the DevOps, share it in the blog, DevOps. And this URL, whatever you learn every day, share with us in the group. So you will manage the EC2 instance here. You manage some load balancer here. You manage the security groups. You manage the application environment. You manage the domain, and slowly you will build the end-to-end capability. Because I'll tell you here, no matter how many sessions you attend, no matter how many videos you go through it, no matter how much documents you'll read, you will not have confidence as when you start doing it compared to that. So you maintain your own blog. How much it will cost you? Overall, if I give you the costing, overall at a high level, $100 per year. That's max actually. 100 years or maybe $150. But here you are learning the technology which can be helpful for you for getting the, if you're from the USA, this much, or if you're from India, then 30 lakhs rupees. Just to compare this one versus this one. So learning is important, right? All of you. Don't you think so?
Yes.
So go for this. Buy a domain, create one EC2 instance, free instance, 1 year free. Load balancer also part of this will be free. You will not be having too much of traffic, so don't worry about that. Install the WordPress. How to install the WordPress? In Linux, no problem. See here, just type here WordPress in my blog, and I've written a tutorial for almost everything. So here, WordPress, right? So here it is. Look at this. How to install and configure XAMPP and WordPress in Linux. You can follow this tutorial blindly, and you can do that. All of you are understanding, right? All of you this.
Yes.
So start doing that. And so tomorrow, whatever you are learning, maybe tomorrow means next week. And any error also, forget about the learnings. Do you have error? Put it in the post and then ask for that. Hey guys, I have this error. Can you please help me out? And people will help you in that post. They will read your blogs, and after that you will start sharing some, whatever you are learning, start sharing it. That's a DevOps section. Whatever you are learning, you start sharing. Let's say some of you, those who are not looking for it, this one, maybe some of you are at the manager level or something like that, because I know some of you from attending from the management team also. So if you're not okay for that, then you can ask for the access here or some other places also. We'll do that. Okay. So with that, you have to keep trying actually. You have to set up your own setup. You're in a DevOps stack. Okay, so last topic is IAM. What is IAM? So IAM is a way to get access. Let's say, see, I logged into my account here. Okay, I logged into my account, but I want to share with you all. But I don't want to give it access to everyone with everything. Others, I'll get a heart attack, assuming that all of my team members will create the services which will not be needed, and it's a waste of money for the organizations. So how do I control those access? I want to give the access to my account, but controlled way. So there is one service which is called IAM, Identity and Access Management. So in IAM, what we do typically, we create a group. I'll show you this demo. So here we have users. Here you have groups. So here what we say, we create a group, demo group, demo. And here you add that particular user. As of now, I'm not adding. And here, what kind of permission you want to give it to that particular users of that particular group, you assign to it. So let's say EC2 instance, I want to give the full access. So I assign it to this and create a group. That means anyone who's a part of this group called demo, anyone who have access to the EC2 instance, full way. So how do I create a user? Let's say add a user. Bluntly, I'm doing Ramu, something like that, giving access to the API and then password. Generate a password, auto-generate a password, and give the password, add it to the group, and review, done. So that means this guy, Raju, okay, this is the Raju. Now what he can do, he can log in to AWS using, close this, using this URL. Using this URL. Where is that URL? It should be here, but it's okay. So here you can add it to log out. This is another account actually. Here, come back to this, and here not root, IAM user, and give the user ID, account ID. Thus this account ID, which is here, you will get it, they will share with you. And next, give the user ID, IAM username and password, the one which you got it, and you will get access. So he will get access to your account, and whatever you have given access, he will do that. So you have to create a user group and then add a user, and whatever access you want to give it, you can give it. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So guys, the thing is, what you have to do from now, keep the fear out of the platform. Okay, keep the fear out of this. You make a mistake, no problem, but today only you start your AWS account trial period with your credit card. Little bit of cost is coming, no problem. You know that you can request the AWS team to waive it off up to the 1 year. Don't misuse the platform, others they will not do that. Okay. Before the billing itself, you have to request to waive off those costs. Okay. If they will charge you, then it will not be able to waive off. Okay. So during the billing, and start learning this platform, because the moment you log in yourself and start creating EC2 instance today, tomorrow you start creating VPC, day after tomorrow you will do that load balancer, auto scaling group, security groups. You see the UI, which is little bit complicated, but you have to get used to it. And then sometime DNS, then you start some application like WordPress and all. So start doing it, and then you'll get a fear out of it, fear out of you. And then when someone will ask you, hey, I want to design one architect, I want to design one applications on AWS, what are the components I needed, for what I needed, why we need it, then you can tell, okay, we need a Route 53 for domain, we need a load balancer, we need a network load balancer, we need an application load balancer, we need a security group, you need a public subnet, you need a VPC, you need a public subnet, you need a private subnet, you need a internal load balancer, you need a EC2 instance, you need a auto scaling group, you need a different kind of storage, different cost structure, different kind of database services, you need SQS, you need SNS, you need SES. If you want to practice the DevOps, you need a code commit. If you want a code start, you code build, code artifact, code pipeline. So you can design and you can inform them saying that, okay, these are the things which we need, but only and only if you practice it. Are you understanding, guys, all of you?
Yes, Rajesh.
Yes.
Yeah, so practice it. Now coming back to the last thing. Here you have all this URL. Anyways, I'll send it to you after the sessions, but yeah, you have to take it a little seriously. All the labs I want you to perform, which you have here. So computing lab, database lab, IAM lab, networking lab, and storage lab. These are the labs I want you to do that without any further delay in this week one. Okay. So tomorrow we are going to connect for the next sessions. I think we have Jira and Confluence, which is the next session. So we'll continue that.
Hello, sir.
Okay, any questions,
Hello.
guys, before me disconnecting this session?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, I think.
Yeah, sir, I want to know if you have one connection to test the AWS service on the platform.
Sorry, I couldn't understand you. What is it?
I have a question on it.
I say that if I can get a one connection credential to connect the AWS platform to test some services.
Yes, you should create a AWS trial account and then start learning that. Yeah. Maybe you can type the question in the group. I'm not able to exactly understand your question. Okay.
Rajesh,
Okay. Anyone
Right,
else have questions?
you understood the question. It was like asking for maybe a user account where you can use on AWS to practice. And that is what we have answered him, that you need to just create a trial account on AWS. So maybe he's not aware of that, or maybe he joined late.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you have to do that. You have to hands on. You have to have your own control over the system. So you have to do that. Okay, guys. So see you next morning.
Okay. Sorry, Raj, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
From my own understanding, so much I really appreciate all what you have taught us today. So I was just thinking that if at all I want to implement DevOps using AWS, so do we need all this knowledge? They look like more or less like almost AWS architect knowledge. You understand? So I was just thinking that maybe if I just know how to use CodeDeploy, CodePipeline, CodeStar, I should be just able to just deploy whatever I want to do on DevOps without even having full knowledge of AWS architect.
Yes, you need knowledge on the architect for sure, but don't need to learn in a few weeks. Actually, gradually you can improve their skills, and you need that knowledge for sure. So maybe it might take 3 to 4 months, 6 months, or something like that. One more thing: don't try to focus on everything on AWS, because even though if you spend lifetime, you'll not be able to complete. So architect means the services which I talked about, like DNS services, VPC services, and security services, and all stuff like that. That is basically architecting. Okay. So slowly we'll get it. Detailed video you have in LMS for each services. You can check it out that one also.
Rajesh,
Thank you.
in Azure we can see like